So you need to really work on your chicken, which is fear, or jerk, which is a temper tantrum and all that stuff. Welcome back to my podcast. I talked about limiting belief and how do you overcome that. And the way to overcome the limiting belief, I'm just going to demonstrate it one time. You just need to be very specific what you want to get rid of. And say that in a funny way, like you could do it, or you could say, and then, immediately change your state, change your status and say, it's bullshit. That's not true. Overcomer, I get the job done. And you need to repeat that over and over again. And you need to get this ingrained into your brain, into your neurosynaptic system, and create new neurons that will erase that limiting belief. And you have to really practice that. Look up Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within, and go to his program, and you will really, really benefit out of that program. What I want to cover moving forward is one of the things that really hit me really hard as I've grown up in my life. No parents are bad. No kids are bad. Before they became parents, they were kids. And when they were born as a kid, they didn't know what situation they're going to born into. Maybe they were born into a situations where they didn't get enough care, enough nurturing, enough love, enough resources. We don't know. I mean, my parents, they grew up, in a different environment. My father grew up in a different environment. My mother grew up in a different environment. And when they met together, they brought in the baggage, positive and negative. And when me and Kalpana got married, I brought in my own baggage, positive and negative. So Rohan, as you're growing up, the message for you, Rohan, is, your parents did the best they did. And it's your turn. It's your responsibility to do the best that you need to do. And you need to focus on your own personal growth and take responsibility of your life. When I grew up as a child, I just grew up. I didn't know what I'm going to get into it. And my parents did the best that they could. My father was a great father. He provided the best he could do. And, as I have some faults, my father had some fault, as my, mother had some fault. And, between them, the dynamics, really played role. My father was really smart and handsome. My mother was extremely loving and caring. But, my father had some complexes that he grew up when he grew up as a child. He grew up in tremendous poverty and all that stuff. So financially, he had that insecurity. My mother grew up in a very financially great background and all that thing. And, she may have a complex that she's not fair enough, she's not white enough, she's not bright enough, she's not beautiful enough. I don't know that. I mean, my mother was extremely beautiful. She was really, really beautiful inside and out. But, when it comes to color of the skin and how you look, people perceive it different. And I don't know how the psychology played role in their marriage and, how the financial upbringing got them. And then, I got married and then I got into them and I saw some of the stuff that was happening between them. And then that shaped me. But you know what? I realized that's not the problem. I realized I need to take charge of my life. I realized I need to work on me. I need to find the people who can really help me in the life. I started reading books. I started attending seminars. It cost time and money and a lot of effort. I went into my meditation because I used to get so angry for no reason. For no reason. I didn't have a clue why I'm getting so angry, why I'm such a control freak. And now when I look back, I know why. And I talked about that in previous episode. And, you can go to YouTube and look up, Rajesh Chotalia, or you could look up Simple Healthy Living, or you could look up, New Age Indian Dad, and you will see my health and wellness thing that I do it under Simple Healthy Living. And then you'll see also some of the podcasts that I'm doing. And you'll see, how I have grown up. And I take responsibility for my own well-being when it comes to mental, emotional, financial and spiritual, I need to analyze myself. Where am I a jerk or where am I driven with fear? Where I'm driven with fear, I need to work on that. And where I'm being jerk, or throwing a temper tantrum like a little kid, who wants a candy and can't get a candy, that's a jerk behavior, right? So that's what I mean. So you need to really work on your chicken, which is fear, or jerk, which is a temper tantrum and all that stuff, and figure it out where you need to really step up and improve your life. Rohan, as you are 7 month old and growing and all that thing, you are very fortunate that you have an excellent parent. That's just knowing what I know about Ajay and how Ajay has been an excellent father, and knowing about my daughter, Karishma, how an excellent daughter she has been. And you're really blessed to have an environment that's going to shape you. And your parents going to really draw a boundary. They're not going to be a pleasing parent. They'd be a pleasant parent. And that's what it should be. But kids need boundary. If my mother didn't draw a boundary on my life, I'll be a mess. I'm glad my mother was strict. I'm glad that when I threw a temper tantrum, my mother didn't say, "Oh, I need to have my son become my friend or he needs to like me." No, my mother didn't care. She cared enough to draw a boundary and to be a good mother. So I turned out to be a great kid. I shared a lot. We can all be judgmental about how some kids are and how some parents are. But, judgment creates violence. You don't want to create violence. You want to just create love. One of the messages that I want to give you strong enough, you don't stay in your head too much. In the head, then you're dead. Stay in your heart. Stay in your intuition. Believe and trust your intuition. And I just wanted to end with this. Love yourself. Love others. But be wise. Be observant. Don't be a fool. Like I've been fooled and I trusted wrong people and I got bitten. Work on yourself. Growth is happiness. Grow. Just wishing you all health, wealth, and happiness on my podcast number 9. Wishing you all lots of love. God bless you. Thank you.